If you think about it, whenever you get a new car, a used car, or even a rental car, you will look at the car's owner's manual to see what kind of gas or what kind of oil it takes. You wouldn't just say, well, I like the color of the handle on the diesel gas pump, so I'm going to put that one in. Or I think my car likes this kind of oil just from looking at it. I think it likes the taste of that, so I'm going to put this oil in. If you put diesel gas in a regular engine car, you're going to hear a little clunk, 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 and your car's not going to run so well. When you were a kid, did you get a new pet, whether it's a cat or dog, or even if you're older and you look up what is this animal supposed to eat? You wouldn't just guess on what to give it. So we know in our mind that everything, whether it be a blender, whether it be a car, whether it be a pet, we know that we have got to look at it and decide what is supposed to go in this so that it's healthy or so that it runs well if it's a machine. It really is just that simple when it comes to what we should and shouldn't be putting in our body and what we as humans should be eating. The issue is there's so much involved in it. There's a lot of cultural beliefs, and there's a lot of myths, and there's a lot of things that we've been told by the industry. There's a lot of money involved in trying to push us to eat certain ways. It's a lot different than, let's just say, okay, this kind of oil should go in your car. So what I've found is that you really have to keep an open mind. You have to do the research, and you have to understand that it might not be what you want to hear. However, from doing this research for 4 years, it truly is, as you'll see from this video, the best way to eat. What I've found out is our bodies run just like machines. There's a certain way that our system is put together, just like that gasoline engine or that diesel engine, that actually helps us perform at an optimal level. And just like putting diesel gas into a regular engine is going to kind of mess things up, that's the same way it is in the human body. Once you learn how our bodies are designed to eat, then you have a choice. We all know it's indisputable that smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol is not great for you. However, if you make the choice to want to do it, no one can tell you that you can't. At least you have that knowledge to say, okay, I'm not being told that this is how everyone does things. Everyone drinks and smokes, so I'm going to drink and smoke, and it's good for me. And in fact, it's recommended. No, we know that that's not the case. I do want to mention, though, if you remember, there was a time when doctors were recommending smoking, when these kind of commercials were real, that smoking was okay. And we now know that that's not the case. However, it's really important to keep an open mind when it comes to what you're believing and the myths and the marketing. I wanted to note that even though in 1965 Congress required all cigarette packages distributed in the United States to carry a health warning, since 1970 this warning is made in the name of the Surgeon General. However, even after we knew this information, up until 1989, you could smoke in hospitals, airplanes, and high schools, and that the students were smoking in the smoking lounges. In 1990, it all changed. States and governments started passing laws. The reason I think this is very important to note when it comes to opening our minds to what we should and should not put into our body is because when I look at the dietary guidelines that are set for Americans, and I look at the milk, yogurt, and cheese food group, and knowing what I know that it does to our body, to me, now it's in the same category as drugs and alcohol. In fact, these guidelines have evolved and changed over time, which further proves that we really need to do our own research. In fact, just recently in 2020, it changed from saying meat, poultry, and fish to being labeled as protein, which is truly moving in the right direction. However, when it comes to changing social norms or guidelines, we have to realize that there's a lot of things involved, such as money. A lot of meat and dairy industry have a vested interest in keeping their businesses going. Just like the tobacco industry is a really huge entity, which likely might be the reason that even though we had the Surgeon General's warning in the mid 1960s, changes were not even made until the early 1990s. When it comes to meat and dairy, yes, you can eat it. However, it is definitely not necessary for your body. And in fact, it has been shown and proven in many studies that it increases your risk of different cancers. In addition to this, it creates insulin resistance because of the high saturated fat content. Therefore, when you eat a high diet of meat, dairy, and other animal products that technically, which we'll learn from this video, were not meant for our body, it will create insulin resistance. Insulin is what lets the sugars into your muscle and liver cells. When you get those blocked up, it will not allow the insulin to work properly to let the sugars in, and this causes the sugar to return to your bloodstream and not able to go where it is supposed to go. If you're interested or you're suffering with type 2 diabetes, check out the video on my page that will teach you a lot more on this topic. It's called Why You Can Reverse Type 2 Diabetes. In addition, it will create high cholesterol because of animal proteins. That's going to be causing heart disease, which is one of the leading killers in the world. It creates inflammation in the body. This is because our body is reacting to a substance that does not belong in the human body. For example, just focusing on dairy, not even the meat aspect of it yet. Let's think about it. If you put aside everything you've heard in the media, milk does a body good, and athletes that are advertising it, and what you've heard growing up as a kid, you have to drink your milk, and you really truly think about it, because my mind did not open to this until I was 42 years old. Check this out. We are the only species that drinks the milk of another mammal. Every other species drinks their mother's milk, including us. Like humans, we only drink our mother's milk up until a certain age when we can handle regular food. Babies of every species and animals in general, if you think about it, know what they are and are not supposed to eat in the wild. When we truly think about it and get into our natural body, we have these same instincts. However, ours has been clouded with things that we're told by media, marketing, and cultural things. Here's an example. Let's take a look at these two photos. If we look at this photo, the colorful, beautiful fruit is something that we're naturally enticed to know that we are supposed to eat and we want to take a bite out of. And then if you look at this photo, if you were a natural carnivore, you would want to run, capture this animal, take a bite into his flesh, and sink your teeth into him. Everything included, blood, vessels, everything. I think we can agree that is not the case, and that our eyes were attracted to the beautiful fruit. We're attracted to things that are colorful, things we can eat. When we think about meat, we're not thinking of the animal. We're thinking of something that's nice and packaged for us, not the truly decaying animal flesh that it really is. It often will have harmful chemicals like nitrates, as well as things that are making it that color, such as a product from beetle shells. I did a video on this called Is Meat Carcinogenic, which I'll link here. Our bodies are such an amazing, beautiful system that it's meant to works so perfectly and it's meant to heal itself. And it's up to us to do the right thing for it.